Chapter 3. The Grove's Shadow. Every root got secrets. Some just grow buried in blood. The smell of burnt bud still clung to the alley behind sticky greens. That's how Bud Smoke knew the city was breathin' funny. Highgardens always had a scent. Cush sweat, sweet diesel, that skunky tang that clung to your clothes like trauma. But lately, it had a shadow in it. Like someone laced the whole damn city with paranoia. Bud leaned against a rusted dumpster in Spliff Square, hoodie pulled low, eyes sharp beneath his locks. He wasn't dressed flashy tonight. No emerald chains, no gold grinder pendants. Just all black, boots muddy, palms itchy. He was waiting. Mary Jane stepped out from behind the alley gate, long red locks braided tight under a camo snapback. Her Glock was tucked under her leather vest, her right hand stained with resin. She'd just put 2 grams in a fool's neck 3 blocks over, some runner from Northside trying to flip fake Zaza near Bud's turf. "He ain't talking no more," she muttered. Bud didn't smile. "Did he cough?" "Yeah, blood, not smoke." "Good." He lit a backwood. "Let the streets know. We don't share lanes." Mary Jane's lip curled. "Then you best watch this." She slid him a burner phone. One text. No number, just a photo. A nug. Deep purple. Blood red hairs. Wrapped in red thread. Bud's jaw tensed. He'd seen that strain before. Back when he was just Beau, a young cultivator for a secret weed cult buried deep under Highgardens, the Grove. The photo unlocked everything. Green-lit hallways, volcanic soil rooms, sealed jars labeled Afghan Widow 66 and God's Lung. And then Jules, his old mentor, dead in a greenhouse with seeds scattered over his chest like a message. Bud tossed the phone into the trash and ground it under his heel. "We movin'." "Where?" He looked at her with that familiar fire. "Back to the dirt." Mary Jane didn't ask no more. They left Spliff Square with no headlights, no plates, past Hash Heights, drove through the fog line of Resin Ridge, headed toward the part of town folks acted like didn't exist, the Hollow Root Trail. It was the original foundation of Highgardens, before legalization, before dispensaries, when it was still trap-grow ops and body bags full of trim. And it was where the Grove buried their secrets. They reached an abandoned barn off Lacedown Road, roof rotted, vines grown thick around broken walls. Inside, the wood creaked like bones. Bud stepped to a trapdoor beneath a rusted grow table. He peeled up the floorboards with a crowbar and revealed a steel panel with a single word etched into it: root. He pressed his thumb to the reader. Click. The lift groaned open, and cold air hissed up from the hole like the mouth of hell had weed breath. They stepped in. The ride down was slow, silent. Mary Jane lit a joint, and the smoke curled like vines up the walls. "You sure about this?" she asked. Bud didn't look at her. "Nah." The lift stopped. Steel doors opened into a long tunnel lit by green glow bars. The smell of old soil, old Bud, and older secrets slapped them both in the chest. And then came the voice. "Well, well, look what the roots dragged back." A tall, broad-shouldered man stepped from the mist, dreads to his waist, shades made of resin glass, neck tattoos of grow charts and strain genetics. "Leaf carrier returns," he said, grin wide. Bud gave him the nod. "I ain't here for pleasantries, Grime." Grime chuckled, still allergic to respect. They walked through the tunnel, past old murals of jungle grows, past sealed tanks of exotic strains, plants with glowing veins, leaves shaped like hands, stems thick as forearms. At the end of the path was the council chamber. Circular, 7 moss-covered stone seats, and a woman in the center with smoke-colored locks, sharp eyes, and fingers stained with sap. "Beau," she said. He flinched. That name dead. She walked barefoot on dirt floors. Her voice was low but cut like glass. "Your mentor's strain has resurfaced," she said. Bud stepped forward. "The Eden Project?" She nodded once. "We told Jules it was too powerful, Too unstable. A strain that didn't just get you high. It showed you things. Buried things. Memories. Past lives. Secrets not meant to be unlocked. Mary Jane's eyes narrowed. And now someone's growing it? The woman placed a tiny vial in Bud's hand. Inside, a single seed, pale green, pulsing faintly. We found this at a site in Gaslight Grove. 2 bodies. 1 smile. 1 scream. Bud stared at the seed. It pulsed once more. He closed his hand around it. We find who got Jules's recipe, he said, voice like gravel. And we burn their grow to ash. Mary Jane cracked her knuckles. And then we burn what's left. They took the long route back to Bud's trap mansion, rolling slow through districts where bodies hung in smoke and silence. The city pulsed with danger. Highgardens ain't ever sleep. It just blinks slow. Mary Jane rolled down her window, let the fog kiss her face. She always said she could smell lies in the air. Tonight? The lies stank loud. Gutter folk playin' reckless, she said. Bud kept both hands on the wheel. They tryin' to be seen. Loud Pack dead, Vicky D gone. Now they movin' in like cockroaches thinkin' they Rottweilers. They ain't ready. They better be. The house sat deep in Green Flame Row, behind 2 locked gates and a wall of bricked grow rooms. The smell alone could cause flashbacks. Inside, the crew waited. Twigs, Bud's tech guy, had on a dab rig helmet and goggles with terpene monitors. Millie Mill, his shooter, was sharpening a switchblade while facing the window, wearing just boxers and weed socks. And Capo Z, the old head enforcer, leaned against the fridge rolling his 3rd blunt of the night, leaf split with a razor shaped like a roach clip. Bud walked in and dropped the seed vial on the table. Jules's strain is back. Silence. Even the blunt stopped sparking. Capo Z finally spoke. That's some fucking joke? Bud shook his head. The Grove confirmed it. Northside Grow House. Gutter folk might got it. Millie Mill grunted. Then we blow that whole block off the map. Twigs blinked through his goggles. Eden strain wasn't made for mass selling. That shit... He paused, glanced around. That shit taps into neurons and suppressed trauma. It ain't weed, it's truth. Bud nodded. Which makes it the deadliest thing we ever let breathe. Capo Z took a slow pull. We taking it back? No, Bud said. We erasing it. Mary Jane smiled. Then let's spark the match. Before they could move, the house lights cut off, power down. Emergency red glow lit the room like blood. A shot cracked the window, then 2 more. Bud hit the floor, rolled behind the granite island. Millie ducked, returned fire through the blinds with his Glock. They found us, Twigs shouted. Mary Jane was already by the hallway, dragging a duffel full of burners and gas masks. Capo Z opened the panic hatch under the floor, weed bricks piled around the steel tunnel. Move! Move! Bullets whined through the wall. A spray of drywall dusted the air. They dove down the hatch one by one. As Bud slid the cover shut behind him, he looked up and saw the silhouette of a man in the window. Green LED mask, dreadlocks. Not gutter folk, someone else. Someone watching. He clenched his jaw. We bein' hunted. They emerged blocks away, under the old hash museum that Bud's uncle once ran. Now it was just rot and rats. But it had a back exit near Torch Alley, and Torch Alley was sacred ground. No one dared shoot there. Too many dealers bled out on those cobblestones. Even the gangs left it untouched. They regrouped, weapons tight, breath heavy. Mary Jane looked at Bud. What now? Bud looked up through the cracked skylight, city lights bleeding through the fog. We take it to the Grove, and we end this shit before it roots any deeper. The next night, the crew moved silent and dirty. Bud didn't post, didn't ping. No text drops, no leaf scans. Just burner calls and burner moves. Word on the street was getting hot. Gutter folk soldiers had been seen rocking custom jackets with embroidered leaves stitched red. That wasn't fashion. That was war paint. Bud, Mary Jane, Millie Mill, and Twigs were headed deep into Keefe Crater, an old abandoned grow field from back before legalization. It used to be home to the city's strongest outdoor indica, but the soil got poisoned after the cartel sprayed it with plant killer laced in meth runoff. Now it was ghostland. But Twigs said that's where the next drop of Eden would be. They arrived around 3:33 a.m. Mist crept over cracked grow beds. Weeds coiled over toppled irrigation lines like vines choking corpses. Silence buzzed louder than sirens. Twigs scanned the perimeter with his terp reader. "We're picking up exotic DNA traces. This ain't no regular stash." Mary Jane pulled out a sawed-off wrapped in camo grip tape. "Then let's see who shows." And right on cue. A white cargo van crept down the trail with no headlights, parking near a decayed greenhouse covered in tagged symbols, X'd-out weed leaves, upside-down joints, and a blood-dripped crown. "Gutter folk." Bud signaled the crew, 4 fingers up, then a closed fist. "Move." They hit fast. Mary Jane took the left flank, Millie went wide with the Tech 9, Twigs stayed back behind a broken hydro rig with the drone control. Bud approached dead center, slow and menacing. The van door slid open. 2 gutter folk jumped out, one holding a crate, the other holding a drum mag AR. Bud didn't flinch. "Put the strain down," he said, voice like brick through glass. The one with the drum mag laughed. "And who the fuck?" Crack. Mary Jane dropped him from behind a grow bin. Blood sprayed the crate. The second one screamed and tried to run, but Millie caught him in the spine with a hot burst, body twitching on the field like a roach after a blunt stomp. Twigs deployed the drone to scan the box. It read, Eden X, Batch 002, property of the root. Bud's chest got tight. "They trying to clone it." Mary Jane opened the crate. Inside, not weed, not even seeds. A child-sized mannequin made of compressed plant matter, moss, stems, dried resin skin, and carved into its wooden chest was the same symbol Jules used to brand rare strains. Infinity Twigs stepped back. "This shit ain't just about weed anymore." Bud stared at the mannequin, eyes narrowing. "They making carriers." Mary Jane's voice dropped. "Weapons?" "No," Bud said. "Test subjects." Twigs' drone lit up with motion alerts. 5 more figures, approaching from the east ridge. Silent, hooded, no shoes, eyes glowing green like chlorophyll nightmares. Bud growled, "Fall back." They ran. The figures didn't chase, they just watched, like they weren't human no more. Back at the safe house near Trichome Terrace, the crew locked down. Millie cleaned guns while Twigs patched into the city's underground satellite net. Mary Jane paced. Bud stared at the crate again. That symbol burned into the mannequin's chest kept circling his mind. Jules used it only once before, on a special strain that didn't just get people high. It opened their fucking memories. Eden X wasn't just a blend of terps, it was psychic warfare. "Tomorrow," Bud said, "we torch the Gutterfolk greenhouse." All of it. Mary Jane grinned. Capo Zed walked in with blood on his hoodie. "I already lit the first one up." Bud nodded. "Then tomorrow we leave ashes where lungs used to be." By sunrise, smoke was rising from Loudtown. Not the usual sweet burn of wake and bakes or hot dabs off the rig. Nah. This was the kind of smoke that tasted like war, dry, bitter, blackened by gunpowder and betrayal. Gutterfolk's mint-condition growhouse was up in flames. Bud didn't wait for news to confirm it. Capo Z sent him a pic, fire crawling up hydroponic rigs, green leaves wilting in heat, charred logos melting off security trucks. It was beautiful. Destruction with purpose, but war never walks alone. That afternoon, retaliation came. Millie Mill was rolling a backwood on the back porch when the first shell hit the street. A grenade from a drone. Gutterfolk tech had stepped up. The porch exploded into timber and screams. Millie caught splinters to the face, lost part of his right cheek. Twigs got hit next, ambushed while picking up ammo from a connect in Blunt Alley. They shot him twice in the thigh, tagged the van, then dipped without a word. Execution style, but with mercy. That was a message. Bud didn't speak for 3 hours. He sat in the grow lab, lights dimmed, the seed vial from the grove turning in his hand. It was warm now, almost like it pulsed. Marianne stood by the glass tank where they grew the moon rocks OG. Thick, silver-sheen nuggets glittering under UV light. "They want you to come out loud," she said. Bud nodded slowly. "They want the throne." "But you ain't built to sit," she said. "You stand, you fight, you burn motherfuckers who try to touch the roots." He looked up. "No more retaliation." Mary Jane tilted her head. "So what then?" "We go to the brick ashes," he said, "where the first Grove Pact was made. If the Eden strain was born there, the cure might be buried there too." "You talking about the archive?" Bud nodded once. She shivered. "That place cursed." "Yeah," he said, cracking his neck. "But so am I." That night they rolled deep. Capo Z drove. Mary Jane cleaned 2 sawed-offs in the back. Bud stared out the window as green fog crawled the gutters. The archive sat in root-bound ruins, a sector so deep in South Highgardens, even the Grove avoided it. Legend said the soil itself remembered trauma. That seeds planted there grew twisted, plants whispering secrets to anyone high enough to hear. The building used to be a strain registry center, back before the city went street. Now it was a moss-covered tomb. They pried the door open with a crowbar and stepped into damp air and rot. Inside, old jars lined the walls, each one labeled with graffiti tags and scrawled strain names: God's Elbow, Reggie Regret, Widow's Keef, Sin Mint, all extinct, all dangerous. Twigs had warned them about this place, said some of the jars still had spores that mutated minds. Bud wasn't afraid. He found the back room, a sealed vault etched with symbols. Mary Jane placed her palm on the lock. It hissed, opened. Inside was a chair, a journal, and a mirror made of resin glass. Bud picked up the journal. It was Jules, pages warped with dried hash oil. But the last entry was clean. "They'll try to clone Eden, but they'll fail. Because Eden needs pain, real pain, not chemical, not synthetic. It has to be born in blood and betrayal, like we were." Bud closed the book. "Then I'll give it pain." He reached into his vest, pulled out the seed, planted it in the center of the archive. The resin mirror shimmered. Mary Jane stepped back. Bud just whispered, "Grow, bitch."